the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Rainey Bass in for Shanika Grimshaw today. In the district, a new indictment announced against the man accused of gunning down 2 Israeli embassy staffers back in May. Elias Rodriguez now charged with 9 federal counts. DC News Now's Marielle Carbone is live outside the United States Attorney's Office with more. Marielle.
Yeah, Randy, we now have that indictment in front of us here, and really the new information is that he is now facing 2 federal hate crime charges for the murder of those 2 embassy employees. Those employees, we know, Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, they were killed outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum back in the end of May. So in this indictment, we're finding out more about what happened that night. Some details here. We are told that Rodriguez traveled from Chicago to D.C. on May 20th and brought with him a 9mm semi-automatic weapon. Of course, he traveled across multiple states, and on that plane ride, we're told that he drafted a manifesto on his iPhone. The U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro saying that all of this was to demonstrate his hatred of the people of Israel. Now, we know the night of the attack, he purchased a ticket to attend a young diplomat's reception at the Capitol Jewish Museum. We're told he watched as people left the reception, and when he saw the victims, he crossed the street, opened fire, killing the 2 of them, and yelled "Free Palestine." After that attack, he entered the Capitol Jewish Museum and yelled that he did it for Palestine. Now, the reason that this is being considered a hate crime and that he's facing those 2 charges is not only because of the words he yelled, but we're also told that he had posted on social media prior to this, "Please, please, please, God, please vaporize Israel." So all of this coming back to anti-Semitism, according to Jeanine Pirro, our U.S. attorney. Again, he's facing 9 federal charges here, including those 2 hate crime charges. The U.S. attorney saying today that anti-Semitism is on the rise and that she will not allow any hate crimes to happen here in our city or anywhere else. Take a listen.
I do so. I fight hate crimes with a vengeance. So don't even think about targeting people in this district because of who they are or because of where they're from. I promise you, justice will be swift.
And there have been a lot of questions in this case on if this will be a death penalty case. Pirro telling us today that that's something that is under consideration, that there's a pretty lengthy process to making that determination between the DOJ and the Attorney General's office. They investigate the circumstances of the case and then make that recommendation to the U.S. Attorney's office. We're also told that the defendant has an opportunity to submit information that is part of that review and consideration. So at this point, it is not a death penalty case, but it could become one in the future, of course, after that review and recommendation is eventually made. We'll have more on this story coming up later on DC News Now at 4, 5, 6, and our evening shows. But for now, reporting live downtown, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
All right, an important update there, Marielle. Thank you. Turning to new details in D.C. this afternoon, police here releasing a new photo of a person of interest in an attack and attempted carjacking earlier this week in Northwest Washington. Police are looking for this person. 2 teens were already arrested in connection with that incident. Officers are offering $10,000 for information on more suspects and people of interest. That attack on a former DOJ staffer made national headlines, attracting the attention of President Donald Trump. The president posted a photo of the victim on social media. 19-year-old Edward Corstein is sitting on the ground on Swan Street Northwest. According to the police report, officers on patrol saw the attack and intervened. 2 15-year-olds from Maryland were arrested. The president posting on Truth Social saying the law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14.
I'm sorry that that person experienced violence, but to say in response to that we should treat 14-year-olds as adults is really, really inappropriate.
Leaders with Free D.C., an organization dedicated to keeping the district's independence and home rule, saying teens need intervention, not more severe punishment, condemning the president's threat, saying kids in the district are not pawns to be taken advantage of for politics. The president has also threatened a federal takeover of D.C. multiple times. It was even one of his campaign promises to clean up what he has called a nightmare of murder and crime. But is it as easy as the president may make it seem? D.C. News Now's Candace Cole is here with more on what it would take for Trump to actually federalize the district.
Taking over D.C. isn't just something President Trump can do with the swipe of a pen through an executive order. D.C. has been under home rule since 1973, which means Washingtonians have the right to elect their own officials, and the district has the ability to govern itself. D.C. is under oversight from Congress, but it would take an act of Congress to overturn that home rule. Earlier this year, Senator Mike Lee from Utah and Tennessee Congressman Andrew Ogles introduced legislation to do so, but it would be tough to get it done with Democrats likely blocking that effort despite being in the minority. Republicans currently do not have the numbers to stave off a filibuster, but there are other ways for the federal government to exert its power over the district. We've just seen this play out with the current D.C. budget, with the House of Representatives refusing to take up legislation to restore D.C.'s budget to 2025 levels after the Senate passed a stopgap bill in March that included $1 billion in cuts to D.C.'s budget. Other examples include provisions tacked on to must-pass legislation preventing D.C. from regulating marijuana use and abortion care. Trump made his latest statements about taking over D.C. after a DOJ staffer was allegedly beaten up during a botched carjacking in D.C. over the weekend. Now he's calling for minors as young as 14 years old to be tried as adults.
You saw that a young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C., and either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Now, D.C.'s National Guard does fall under the president's command. There's also a provision within D.C.'s home rule allowing him to take temporary control over MPD in the case of an emergency. He considered doing so back in 2020 during the George Floyd demonstrations and floated the idea yesterday during a press conference. Reporting in Northwest, Candace Cole, D.C. News Now.
All right, Candace, thank you. We turn right over to meteorologist Damon Matson, who is breaking down the forecast. And Damon, some clouds to speak of today, but quite a bit of sunshine, too.
Yeah, and that comfortable feel, Randy. I know that you're a big fan of this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, feels great out there.
Yeah, the month of August in D.C., we're not usually experiencing this kind of comfortable air. So I know the clouds have been a bit pesky at times, but I guess we'll take it if it does mean we stay comfortable. But we are seeing a little bit more of that sunshine breaking out across mainly the heart of the region, parts of northern Virginia up toward north central Maryland, but we still do have some clouds continuing to roll in, so it is not totally going to clear up. And on top of that here, we do have plenty of haze hanging out higher in the atmosphere, mixing in with all of these clouds, so that combination is going to continue to filter out what little bit of sunshine we do see throughout the rest of the day today, and that is continuing to keep our temperatures in check. We are warming up a bit faster than yesterday. We're into the middle and upper 70s here for the lunch hour. We will continue to tick those temperatures up just a few more degrees as we head later on into the afternoon. Most of us will reach the lower and middle 80s. Pretty much nobody reached the 80s on Wednesday, so that's that little bit of warmth we will add. But otherwise, besides the clouds and the haze, it stays quiet as we head through the rest of this Thursday. Now, as we head into the upcoming weekend and more clearing starts to take shape, should we be ready for some typical August heat to return? We'll have another full look at your forecast with those answers coming up here in just a bit.
New at noon, D.C. police are investigating a road rage dispute happened in the area of Benning Road and Maryland Avenue in Northeast this morning. They say a person on a scooter shot a driver. That driver then hit the person on the scooter. Both were taken to a nearby hospital where they were under arrest and charged. The person on the scooter is being treated for life-threatening injuries. And developing now, a woman is dead, another injured after a crash in Prince George's County. Prince George's County police responded to that single vehicle crash on Tippett Road in Clinton last night around 10:45. One woman, a passenger in the car, died at the scene. The driver was not hurt, and a second injured passenger was taken to a hospital for treatment. The investigation is still ongoing. And staying in Prince George's County, police showing us an alleged murder suspect taking off on a bike. They released this new video today saying the suspect shot and killed 33-year-old William Denard Askew on July 25th along Laurel Bowie Road. Police are asking for the public's help to identify the person on that bike, offering a reward of up to $25,000 for information. And Virginia State Police say a suspect is in custody after a high-speed chase that started in Prince William County. That pursued overnight, ending in a crash after state police tried to initiate a traffic stop and followed the driver going more than 100 miles per hour up I-95. VSP says the suspect's car went airborne on an exit ramp before crashing into another car. The people in the other car suffered serious injuries, taken to a hospital, along with the suspect, 22-year-old Cameron Teach, 22 years old, of Enrico, now facing charges of felony eluding and reckless driving. Plus, President Trump's new tariffs taking effect overnight. The president on his Truth Social account just before midnight saying billions of dollars in tariffs are now flowing into the United States of America. The president signed an executive order last week unveiling new tariff rates. Now nearly all imports face a 10% tariff. Some nations facing even higher numbers, Switzerland and Syria around 40%, the European Union at 15%. Happening today, Prince George's County launching a new program aimed at ending the county's backlog of requests from residents. County Executive Aisha Braveboy is calling it Strike Force 311. Braveboy's team says the new team will focus on taking care of abandoned cars, debris, overgrown areas, and fixing streetlights.